Hi, my name is Garza. I am a student in the master's program, Integrated Marketing Communication, with a Hispanic marketing focus. And I did my paper on opening opportunities for Hispanics, specifically Hispanic immigrants who are new to the country or have not yet assimilated um, to the U.S. So, why Hispanics? Hispanics are fueling the nation's growth, and they currently make up 17 of the population, and that number is expected to grow and make them the largest minority in the U.S. 10 years ago, the Hispanic population in the U.S. was predominantly made up of immigration from Latin American countries, specifically Mexico. And but today that has really changed. Now, 1 in 4 babies born in the U.S. comes from a Hispanic household. So they are really Hispanic immigration from Latin American countries has slowed down, and native-born Hispanics in the U.S. has grown. So we have a really good mix of both now. Hispanic employment. Even though the Hispanic population has really grown, the employment rate and how Hispanics are seen in the job market hasn't really changed as much as it should have. The unemployment rate amongst Hispanics has always been higher than the national average. And like I said, even though the population has grown, Hispanics still aren't seen as equals when it comes to job opportunities and wages. Today, we still see many Hispanics working in the private sector and work in jobs such as agriculture, construction, housekeeping, and sales. And many of these jobs are not jobs that are making them a lot of money, but are a means to pay the bills and keep their families afloat. Um, these jobs, they kind of just take these jobs as, um, like waits just to have some income. They're not exactly things that they aspire for or things that they wanted, but it's what's in front of them and what was easiest to find, because there's so many barriers that they have from actually going out there and finding the right job and getting ahead. There's so many things stopping them from doing that. And so while we still have many Hispanics working in lower wage jobs rather than salary jobs or jobs in the corporate world, we also see many Hispanics who are increasingly educated and finding those opportunities and taking advantage of them. And these usually come from Hispanics who are second and third generation already in the U.S. So they learned the mistakes of their parents, of their family that came before them. They've become more assimilated. They're bicultural. They know how to handle both sides of their culture. So the American culture is nothing new to them. Language is not a barrier. Education is not as much as a barrier to them as it was to the first generation Hispanics who came to this country probably as immigrants. Um, so they are finding more job opportunities, so much so that in 2013, it was the first year since the mid 1990s that native-born Hispanics made a majority of the Latino labor force compared to foreign-born Hispanics. And so while they are finding job opportunities, Hispanics are also making a lot of opportunities for themselves in the U.S. They really have entrepreneurial spirits that have helped them kind of become small business owners. Over 50% of private firms in the U.S. are owned by Hispanics, and that number is continuing to grow. So they're making opportunities for themselves, and I kind of think by doing that, they are also opening opportunities for those Hispanics around them who they feel they could possibly help as a minority business owners. So Hispanic resources and how they use information, how they seek out information. one of the easiest and best ways for them to seek information, to distribute information, is simply through word of mouth and talking amongst their family, friends, coworkers, anyone around them. Whether it be talking about a product that they like, something they didn't like, passing on valuable information as like a new recipe or a doctor that they liked, what to do, what not to do, opportunities that are out there, something they should probably do. That's something they really share with each other and aren't afraid to talk about. Hispanic immigrants, also, for them, this is especially important because they rely on those people that are simply around them to kind of be their first sources of information when they're new to the country. So these social connections are really strictly among ethnic lines at first because these immigrants are kind of scared to step out of the lines. They don't know how to speak English. They could be embarrassed that they might try speaking to someone in Spanish, but that person doesn't know it, or they don't know how to communicate, or where they can actually find people they can communicate with. Another source is, of course, the internet, but this also depends on their level of culturation and income levels as well. So a new immigrant might not have access to even a smartphone at first, or a tablet or computer. That comes later once they know even where to get one, to get to buy technology in this country and how to use it. Is it available to them in English or in Spanish? Like, they don't know these things, so it's going to take them a while to actually start using them on a regular basis. But for someone who isn't new to this country or who isn't afraid to try new technology, this is a great resource to not only use the internet to search for things and find things in their language, see what's out there, but it also serves as a connectivity tool to those back in their country and maybe even through social media to connect to what's around them. And when it comes to job opportunities, there are, of course, um, job postings online, but there are also websites dedicated to Hispanics and job resources, employment resources, such as iHispano and Saludos, which connect Hispanics to job opportunities maybe in the corporate world or business opportunities. The only downfall is that these opportunities are mainly for bilingual, educated Hispanics and not really new immigrants who might not know how to use it, might not understand English or how to navigate these pages and all the information that needs to go on them. Um, Something else that's an important connectivity tool for Hispanics is radio. Radio is a little bit outdated to the rest of us, but that to them is something easy, convenient, and easily accessible to them, whether it be in the car or a simple radio that they might have in their home or anywhere they are. Radio is easy for them, and it's something that they don't have a smartphone to play music from, so they're going to go to their radio to get their news in Spanish music. And these stations, these Hispanic stations, also serve as community networking. I remember when I was little, my parents would use a radio station to find employees for their business and were successful in doing so because people were paying attention and people were listening. And that's still very relevant in the Hispanic community today. And one of the simplest, basic, and I believe one of the best ways to connect and um, start communicating with Hispanics is through local organizations in their communities, especially in communities with higher densities of Hispanics. So, like I had said earlier, they're going to go to people they might trust, and one of those places might be a church in their area, and the priest and influencers there. So, um, having these organizations, these key influencers in Hispanic communities, to know about the resources available to Hispanics is very important. when I worked in Austin last year with a small communications firm, we were working with a city project that was being done in a Hispanic neighborhood, and Hispanics weren't going to the monthly meetings, so instead we went to them by providing them with brochures, contact info, resources that could help them know what's going on in their neighborhood by leaving this information in the recreation centers, churches, and schools they were attending on a regular basis. So even though they didn't want to come to us, we still went to them and provided them with the information that they were looking for. So how does this tie into the project idea? I want to provide the Hispanic community, especially those that aren't acculturated and new immigrants, with a way to kind of get ahead and be successful in this country that they came to, looking for opportunity and success. And as you know, as the Hispanic population continues to grow, you want you don't want them as a community to kind of stay behind and keep the same kind of jobs and education levels they have now, because they're going to be they're a huge driving force in this country. So if they don't kind of step it up, that could kind of hurt the country as the U.S. as a whole rather than helping it. So I see an integrated plan working with communities and building up to networking via the internet through social media platforms as a way to keep them informed, kind of like through a step-by-step process. So starting off through churches and local active organizations who are already reaching out to Hispanics or helping them and providing them with kind of a resource guide. So once they get to know them, kind of help them set themselves up and give them like some stepping stones. So for instance, if we were to talk to a local food bank or a local church, provide them with job opportunities or areas, lists, people, anything that could give the Hispanics that they talk to a head start in maybe searching for a job or looking for reduced priced English classes, courses, anything that can kind of help them. And so once they kind of build that trust with them, and as the Hispanics become more assimilated, kind of build them into a relationship that leads into the internet. By then, most of them will probably be able to afford a smartphone or something that they are going to want to use to stay connected to those people that they're meeting. They're going to be working now, so they're going to need a connectivity tool, not only to their family, but also to the family that they left behind in their countries or to their kids and so forth. So once they become familiar with the internet, use the internet as a tool where they can kind of have all the information at their fingertips by having maybe a website that is able to kind of talk to them in their own language, easy to use, accessible, and connect them to those job opportunities that were talked to before, to new opportunities, and let people not only read things and find information, but also post and be an active community rather than it being a one-way street and having them communicate with each other than just on their own. But this is still a growing idea. Thank you.